I love AI for speeding up or enhancing the mundane. I
Hmm.
don't like AI as a replacement anywhere in the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
So not everybody agrees with me on this, but like I don't like AI phone answering services or AI chat bots necessarily because that's all part of the customer intake experience. But I do like using AI to rapidly edit and create things and all of that stuff.
Hey, how's it going? It's Tim Brown, and this is the Plumbing and HVAC Hustle Podcast. And today I'm talking to Mitch Smedley of Smedley Plumbing, and you guys are going to be adding heating and cooling now?
Possibly
Okay.
some coming soon. Yep. Yep.
Okay, and we're talking about how to start a plumbing company and get it to 1 million. It's a pretty big jump, and 80% of companies don't get there.
Yeah.
How do you get there, Mitch? And maybe you could start with a little bit of your background too, so people can understand where it's coming from.
Yeah, yeah. So my background, I had been in the plumbing industry for about 19 years before I started our company, and I selectively chose positions at different companies to further my path and further my education and development for what it would take to own a company. And I was blessed with the opportunity about 8 months before I started our company. I was blessed with the opportunity to start a plumbing division for a 30-year-old HVAC company. And I, had my whole playbook written out for how I would start my company. And I jumped on with them and I basically got like a dry run of how to start a plumbing company by starting a plumbing division for them. And within 7 months, we had them up to about $85,000 a month in revenue, which puts them at $1 million a year pace. And everything worked pretty smoothly. And so I was able to give them plenty of notice and able to set them up with good systems and good processes to where I was able to leave there on great terms and then embark on my own legacy. And so we opened Smedley Plumbing in August of 2020, right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic, which actually turned out to be another blessing for home service companies. Turns out when you make everybody stay at home, they have extra wear and tear on their home and they need to call plumbers. So, um, we were able to kind of ride that pandemic wave a little bit and get our company off to a really good start.
So, if you talk to a lot of early companies with your Tradewinds Consulting, which is for early companies, maybe even most people wouldn't have business coaches or whatever under that 1 million mark, but you work with a lot of these smaller companies. So get at Tradewinds Consulting if that's appropriate. But what are some of the things that you really advise when people are in the startup mode? Basically, like 3 non negotiables of like, you need to do this or
Yeah.
you're not going to get to 1 million.
Yeah. So for us, those non negotiables were community involvement. We wanted to make sure that the company had we didn't want it to be a voluntary kind of if we had time and if we had the money and if we had the opportunity we might do community involvement. So we actually like wrote it into our business plans what our community involvement was going to be and when it was going to happen each month and how it was going to go down. So
Mm.
that was one, and that helped force us to be exposed in the community. Our exposure in the local community was very strong right out of the gate. Another non-negotiable we had was we were very particular on the experience we wanted the customer to have. And when you're young in business and just starting out, you don't have a lot of money for marketing. And so you're really relying on word of mouth referrals and digital word of mouth referrals and being referred in Facebook groups and things like that. And so we literally built a customer experience for how we talk to the customer, how we interact in their home, how we give them 3 options for repair, and all of these things. And basically anything that was a hindrance for a customer to buy, we got it out of the process. So like a lot of companies charge extra fees for credit cards. We just bumped our prices up 5%, and then we happily accept any way somebody wants to pay. Like we didn't want that, customers eventually get like this decision fatigue. And so we didn't want them that to be a thing they have to decide. The gas pump at the gas station doesn't give you a discount if you write a check or pay with cash. And so, like, just model yourself off to other businesses that already do that. And
Hmm.
we didn't feel it was right to charge extra to take the most common form of payment. So, little things like that, we made it super easy for customers to buy. And we created opportunities for customers to buy rather than customers to be sold anything, because people hate to be sold on something, but they love to buy stuff.
Hmm.
And so we built a whole process around creating an environment where they can buy without us selling them anything.
Many homes suffer from inefficient HVAC systems due to leaky ducts, leading to uneven room temps, lost airflow, and higher energy costs. AeroSeal's innovative sealant technology targets and repairs leaks, improving airflow and efficiency. Increase your customer satisfaction, increase sales, and offer a unique market advantage. Become a leader in HVAC efficiency. aeroseal.com.
You kind of have this advantage too when you're starting a new company, where it's like, well, even if the people started 5, 10 years ago around you or whatever, and a lot of these companies are older, right? You get to do all the most just basic modern practices for, like, just don't copy everyone is kind of a thing. Like, don't copy all your competitors. Think about how people are buying now other stuff,
Yeah.
and then do a modern business. Like, you don't have to be like all the other plumbers around.
Right, right. And that's exactly what we did. Like, thankfully, because I had worked at enough other plumbing companies in the past, I was able to take all the things that I liked and the things that made sense and worked well, and then I was able to identify the things that made no sense at all, and I
Hmm.
was able to eliminate those and create processes in lieu of those. And it's worked really well. We've got, a 4.9 rating on Google, and we've got over 1,200 Google reviews in five
Wow.
years, and we don't use a review service. This is
Mm.
all this is all like straight us getting Google reviews. This isn't through any one of those services that's automated that sends a link out afterwards or anything else. Like, this is just us working for those reviews.
Other things like that, people, let's say they're in startup mode. Maybe we're not covering get your business license and all the insurances and stuff like that, but do that.
Yeah, of course.
And make sure your name can be trademarked in your state,
Yep.
etc. But other things that, like, maybe not everyone would know, but
Yeah.
you need to do this.
Yeah, I'm a big storyteller, and I found that when you're in-home service, it's a very personal experience, right? This isn't somebody picking a new duvet cover off of Amazon that's going to be here scary fast, right? Like, you order it and it shows up 3 hours later by a drone or something. This isn't that. Like, you're providing a service, not a commodity, and so the moment you can wrap your head around the idea that you're a service and not a commodity, now you can just wrap your head around the idea of being the best service imaginable. And we don't do this in our company, but the way that I explain it to our guys is like, we're based out of Kansas City. Imagine if we were like the exclusive plumber for all of the Chiefs players. Like, they would pay handsomely for top tier service, right? Literally rolling out a red carpet and all of these things. And so, like, once you understand that the job is for you to create exactly how you want to create it, well, then sky's the limit. Like, you can literally do anything you want. And so, like you mentioned, I made my logo on my phone, and then I trademarked it. And then we came up with the slogan "Fix Pipes, Pet Dogs," and I trademarked that. And and then, like, we can sell T-shirts with that on there now because it's trademarked. We've got custom dog treats that we give to customers, and we even have a process for how we give the dog treat to a customer.
Yeah.
And it's got, like, we've got two different versions. One says our logo on it, and then one says "Fix Pipes, Pet Dogs" on it.
So if I had to summarize, when you're making your brand, it doesn't have to be fancy, but make it make people feel something, and then have a story around it
Yeah.
that can get into people's hearts and maybe connects to some physical differentiator that you can kind of consistently do and make people remember or want to tell the story.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like a lot of people start out in business and they think it's kind of automatic, like, oh, we provide better quality for a cheaper price. And like everyone says that. And quality is subject to interpretation. That's why no restaurant out there has a 5-star rating, because what's good pasta for you might be bad pasta for me. And so as soon as you recognize quality is subject to interpretation, like don't let that be the anchor point of why they should shop with you.
Yeah.
Let it be something else. And for us, it was, we wanted to create a company that was different than all the others. And one of the other ways that we do that is we have what we call the 10,000 hour guarantee, which means all of our plumbers have at least 10,000 hours of proven experience before we hire them. So we aren't that company that's going to take a guy with a couple of weeks experience that was just tossed into a truck. We're not charging premium rates and sending that guy to your house. If we're going to charge premium rates, it's because you're getting a premium level of experience. And so we have on average like 24 years of experience between all of our plumbers
That's
on
wild.
not between them, like not added up totally. Added up totally, it's in the hundreds, but with the plumbers on staff, on average of about 20 to 24 years of experience. So
Hmm.
basically, we've kind of branded ourselves around like, if you want to fix right the first time, call us.
Hmm. It's intense. It's intense. So whatever it is, choose a differentiate. Sorry, I'm just trying to summarize for
Yeah.
folks, like because you might not be able to get that, or it might be hard to scale. Just throwing it out there. Sorry. I mean, I think it's dope, but like not everyone's gonna be able to do that. So it's like find the thing that customers care about that you can deliver on.
Yes.
That's kind of extra and above, and then kind of anchor yourself to be known for that by talking about it a lot.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's probably a different one that would also be emotionally persuasive to people, and but it's like find your thing. Find your thing that like is related to the customer experience or the service that people really care about, and like essentially like a guarantee or a pledge or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of companies will do like 100% satisfaction guarantee or your money back or, whatever the case may be there. And those are all good. If you're in a smaller market, it may be hard to do some kind of a guaranteed level of experience,
Hmm.
just because you may not have that many people to pull from in your market, that many
Hmm.
technicians, plumbers, or heating, cooling guys, or whatever. In our market in Kansas City, we're large enough that we're able to do that. But one differentiator that anybody can do is finding a way to get involved in your community. And we do that through a program we call Family First, where we find people in our community with necessary plumbing repair needs and no way to afford them. We put them up on our schedule on the first business day of the month, and we take care of their plumbing repairs absolutely free of charge. And there's no other company in our area that does that. There are a couple of companies that will randomly kind of take care of somebody around the holidays or something like that,
Hmm.
but that kind of gets lost in the minutia of every other company trying to do
Hmm.
that around the holidays, right? Well, we differentiated ourselves by saying we're going to do this not only every month, but we're going to start the month in the hole. The first business day of each month, we're working for free. And we've never turned
Hmm.
anybody down for that program. We have very loose credentials to apply for the program. Um, in other words, we open ourselves up to being taken advantage of,
Hmm.
but we're okay with that because that's not on us. That's on the person taking advantage of us.
Hmm.
Um, but what that's allowed us to do is it's allowed us to become a big, prominent staple in our local community. And it's allowed us to have a lot of raving fans out there. And these are fans that may have never even used us before. And maybe they're not eligible to use us because they rent or they're in a retirement home or something like that, but they are still promoting the heck out of us on social media
Hmm.
simply because they're a fan of the impact that we make on the community.
Hmm. Once again, I'm trying to summarize just for folks out there, and I'm sure you could apply this to your situation. But anything that you can do that's consistent, because you have like a almost like a consistent schedule on this. It sounds like.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is that
The
schedule again?
the first business day of every month. And if we get 3 people that sign up for it, we take care of 3. If we get 17 people that sign up for it that month, we take care of all 17. Like the The only time we've ever declined anybody on the service is when there's just been a miscommunication and they thought they won like a prize. And
Hmm.
so they thought it was like a free makeover or free upgrade kind of thing instead of like a charitable
Yeah.
service.
Yeah.
And so like you pick up on those pretty quick. You get in those houses and you just make a quick statement to them and say, "Hey, I think there's been a misunderstanding. This is for, needy people, and correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that's you." And usually they're very gracious about it. "Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry," and whatever else. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, these are people that have no way to afford plumbing
Yeah.
services, and we're going to go in there and get them back in service.
So, can you create some kind of community involvement or charitable device that gets you in front of more people, but also I would assume that it gives you your team meaning in their work as well, and it basically like makes the whole thing feel more mission oriented. I think like whatever that is for you as startup, coming up with something like that as soon as you can, because we can't it's hard to get in the hearts and minds of customers, and that's where you want to be. That's where you want to be. I was telling my team yesterday we were whiteboarding, and I'm like, my superpower is like coming up with topics for content. Like I could just create 5 buckets, and we're all going to create it together, and we're going to create a bunch of content, and then I could go on forever, right? And
Right.
it doesn't matter the business type, but I was doing it with my team yesterday, and I I surprised myself with this one, but I was saying like it's kind of three things. Like my buckets this time were like, if there were 3 buckets, it would be like there's snakes, berries, and fire. Like you think about like the primordial times, like or like coming out of the cave, we got the snakes is danger, right? Like
Right.
avoid these common plumbing mistakes,
Right.
or watch out for this on shady contractors. That would be like snakes. And it's easy, and you don't want to do it all the time because you don't want to live in that place in people's heads, the
Right.
cortisol of like
Yep.
stress.
Yep.
And then berries is like, oh, I see berries on the woods. Like our brains are trained to see opportunity, right? It's like 3 tips for taking care of your plumbing so you don't need us or whatever. It's
Yeah.
like that's the opportunity. But that one's hard because people are
Yeah.
so much more programmed to avoid pain than pleasure. But we go there a lot because it's easier and it's a better place to live in people's brains. And then fire, it's like obviously there's danger in it, but I think of it more as community. I'm thinking about community and sitting around humanity. Like
Mm-hmm.
the danger is you don't want to like that we've saw like 100 people last week their business 1-star reviewed because they were trying to sit around the fire and put their hand in it, and like it was a weird time because there was
Yep.
something going on in politics and people needed to weigh in, and like then people were reviewing people's companies. It was a wild time, just like
Yeah. Yeah.
not going into it because I'm not going to put my hand in the fire, but in general, fire can be community. You're sitting around like you find the heartwarming and relationship driven stuff that's
Yep.
like, hey, you and me, we're the same. We both have, horse skin shirts on or whatever. I'm imagining these cavemen. You and
Right.
me, we're horse shirt guys. You know what
Right.
I mean? Or like you use your city, you use the things that they care about and family and relationships, and that's part of marketing. And the dogs, that's fire. That to me, that's
Yeah.
like that's sitting around the fire. So I think the buckets of content in that way: snakes, berries, fire.
Yeah, we did a lot of similar stuff to that. We have a YouTube channel, and for a plumbing YouTube channel, it doesn't do too bad. We have about 20,000 subscribers,
Hmm.
and we
That's
put a lot of
amazing.
content.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put a lot of content out on YouTube, and the YouTube idea was for both to create credibility for the company, but also to answer a lot of the low dollar ticket items that we don't really want customers calling us for. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm happy to come out and replace the flapper in your toilet, but if you can do it yourself and through my YouTube video that I made for you, then now you like me better. I saved you some money and you'll call me for the big thing. right? And so our YouTube thing was kind of all over the place of like things to avoid. We talked about like how home warranties can often be kind of a scam and stuff like that. We talk about like we have a video with I don't know 700 or 800,000 views that's like 40 minutes long about thermal expansion.
Hmm.
And so we teach people about that. We went and bought like the two most expensive toilets and the cheapest toilet from Home Depot, and we torture tested them. And much to my surprise, there's a toilet at Home Depot that advertises it can flush 7 billiard balls.
Hmm.
It actually flushes 15 billiard balls.
Wow.
And yeah, so
I've always wanted to
all of
do a
that's
series called "Will It Flush?"
yeah. Actually, we name all of our videos after a search question that people would have, like
Ah,
what toilet should I buy? Do I need a thermal
yeah.
expansion tank? Things like that. So
Hmm.
because Google owns YouTube,
Hmm.
if you do put content out on YouTube and you do it correctly, you can actually boost your website dramatically
Oh
because
yeah.
the two are connected together. And so,
And if you embed your videos on the top of your pages and blog posts, people spend more time on your website, thus
yep,
increasing Google's likelihood of showing your company because they're like people land on this website and they stay. So
yeah,
it's tracking that and it's trying to show people stuff that they want to stay on. So
exactly,
embed videos on your website, especially on I go back and look at like the best pages a lot. Google Search Console, you don't need an agency for this. You can just Google Search Console is incredible. You can find your top pages and then
hmm,
make videos for the top pages and posts and
yeah,
embed them on the top of there because that's a massive opportunity. And then vice versa, when you have a blog post that takes off, make a video out of it.
right. Yeah, and there's a lot of times we kinda went the other way with it. We would transcribe the videos and
Hmm.
then run them through AI and say, "Hey, take this transcription and turn it into a blog post."
Love that.
And we would and then, of course, you gotta proofread it and make sure that it
Yeah.
doesn't look AI and, change a little bit of things around, but,
But as long as you
thing
embed the video up at top, it's like kind of doesn't matter because if they get there and then
yeah,
they can watch the video, it's like
yep.
yeah. To,
Yeah,
to me, that's
we
a really strong use case for AI. Is like taking subject matter expertise that you've created and then scaling it into 10 different pieces of content.
yeah, yeah, I don't, like, I love AI for speeding up or enhancing the mundane. I
Hmm.
don't like AI as a replacement anywhere in the customer experience, right?
Yeah.
So, like, and not everybody agrees with me on this, but, like, I don't like AI phone answering services or AI chat bots necessarily, because that's all part of the customer intake experience. Um but I do like using AI to rapidly edit and create things and all of that stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's an augmentation. I think of it as like we all have a little bit more creative muscles, but I still like to stay on like concepting, low fidelity. I like paper. And
Yeah.
then I'll scratch something out, and then like basically you want to start at the lowest, and then even AI for like developing those ideas further. And then to me, it's like good to like pass off to a designer or like bring in people that are really good at it.
Yeah.
It's taking away some of that like busy work of trying to flesh out an idea, but I don't think
Yep.
it's the final polish yet for most stuff.
Yeah.
If you do a logo with it, I'd maybe like have a designer, even not a maybe you don't have to have as big of a crazy fancy designer do it because you already kind of have a concept, but getting somebody else to like a designer to kind of put some final touches on it. So it's like
Yep.
you ultimately want your logo, for instance, like just because we're talking about starting a business, you want your logo to be able to create it in a vector format and just to
Yep.
be able to use it for different things and for it to be hot, like big and small. No matter what at the beginning, you definitely want your logo to be good.
Yeah.
So maybe you don't need the biggest possible marketing age, like the crazy expensive thing, but it is a pretty high leverage moment. So just making sure you're strongly considered.
Yeah.
Um, it's because it does matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I always tell people like when you're coming up with your logo, don't go to Fiverr or anything like that
Mhm.
because they're just going to be using clip art and chat GPT and they're going to
Hmm.
give you an end product that you probably can't trademark.
Yeah.
And so, um, if you're creative, come up with your own logo. If you're not
Hmm.
creative, work with somebody to come up with it, but make sure they aren't using Fiverr and Chat GPT, and also let them know that like the goal is to trademark it. And so that way they aren't going to be using those AI
Yeah.
services. So I did our logo. I don't know if you can see it on the
Yeah.
film. I
Yep.
can.
Yep. I
Um,
can.
so our logo, the idea was a street sign, and
Hmm.
so the everything
Mm.
was the font and the colors and everything of a street sign. And I figured people might naturally follow street signs as to where to go, so I'll make it a street sign. And then it
Hmm.
was missing something. And then I saw my dog looking over the couch at me, and I'm like, that's it. Let's put a dog on top of the logo. And we've kind of branded our company around dogs. And the idea is like most of the homes we go in have dogs. And that's always a topic of conversation. Do you like dogs? Do you not like dogs? Do I need to put the dog away and all of this stuff? And so we've just branded our company with it on there to be like, no, leave the dog out. That's part of why we're coming to your house is we want to pet your dog. And we've got a
That's
dog
fun.
treat for it too. So
Yeah.
we do a lot of fun stuff like that with just making customers feel at ease before they ever even call us.
Yeah. It's really cool, man. I love that. Let me talk about just, let's say somebody's in that 300 to 500 range and they're feeling a
Uh-huh.
little, I don't know, that's an antsy time for any
Yeah.
business. They think about, hey, am I really going to scale this thing or am I going to get stuck down here?
Yep.
I'm not talking about the guys who've been stuck there for 10 years because I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if we're going to help you there, but
they probably don't want to move too much.
yeah,
That's a
yeah, it's
lifestyle business,
okay.
right?
It's okay if you want to just live a life and be
Yep.
a plumber and get and have a few guys with you. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not talking shit about that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But for those guys who know they're going to 1 million, you know what I mean? Like you're
Yep.
driven, you're kind of anxious to do it. How would you help them? Those guys that are going from that 300 to 500 to 1 million. What are some things they need to get in place now to do
Yeah,
that?
so like and this is really cool coming from me because I am not a marketing agency. Like
Hmm.
I don't offer anything that I'm getting ready to talk about.
Hmm.
But like the typical flow is we try to tell people to be posting on social media 3 to 5 times a week. If you can post every day, post every day. But then like the first thing you're going to be spending money on is usually going to be SEO for plumbing. And the reason I say SEO is because SEO takes a little bit of time to get some results.
Hmm.
But the unique thing with plumbing is nobody needs a plumber until the minute or the hour they need a plumber.
Hmm.
And so you've got to build your marketing in a way to where you're in front of the customer during that very narrow window where they need you.
Hmm.
If a customer wakes up and their water heater's broken, they're going to go straight to Google and they're going to say, or they're going to go to social media and they're going to say, who do you recommend?
Hmm.
And they're either going to get results from social media or they're going to get results from Google. And so you got to dominate those two areas.
Hmm.
And I haven't had all that much luck with like AdWords or anything like that on Google, but with SEO and then our YouTube page, and the YouTube thing didn't come in until about a year and a half or 2 years in business.
Hmm.
But I haven't had much luck doing anything other than just SEO. We've
Hmm.
done pay per click, and with plumbing, pay per click is even very difficult because unless you can sell from your website, pay per click is kind of hard. And so now, if somebody can book an appointment directly from your website, not just submit like a contact us inquiry, but actually book an appointment from your website,
Hmm.
then pay per click might work. But if you don't have that ability, then you're kind of taking somebody the long way around when they should just be calling you. And so that's where we focus on like SEO, and then the very next step would be I would recommend to people do LSA, because at least with Google LSA your phone is ringing, right? I could go spend 10 grand on a
Hmm.
billboard and I don't get a guarantee my phone's even going to ring.
Yeah.
Um, and chances are most of the people driving by that billboard don't even need a plumber.
Yeah.
But if I spend money on LSA, and in my market we spend about 81 bucks a lead on LSA right now, but at least my phone is guaranteed ringing for the $81.
Hmm.
And so that's a positive move in the right direction.
Yeah. I think of this first period of time, this first couple million, you got to put in a lot of sweat equity. I think that it's hard to get somebody else to care more than you for the money that you should be spending on marketing right now. I'll care, or like it's good. We put a lot of effort into our clients. We're a little bit more expensive, so we're probably not a fit for people under that 1 million.
Yeah.
When we do stuff like in that 1 to 2 million, we're like Google Maps and
Yeah.
LSA are probably the biggest ones for us because
Yep.
our SEO, because it is, from my point of view, the SEO piece, it's go hard or go home with
Yeah.
SEO. Like, it depends on the market. Like, if you're in 100,000 person market, thank your lucky stars. That's like a perfect sweet spot where you can you can dominate a lot for
Yeah.
not as expensive, but like for a lot of markets, trying to throw couple $1,000s a month at SEO is actually just going to get you pissed at marketing companies. And I know
Yeah.
a lot of you already know that.
Well, and one of the
Yeah.
things that I always do too is I set people up for like decent expectations. And
Yeah.
again, I'm not a marketing agency. I don't make
Yeah.
any money on marketing, but like as we're talking with our TradeWinds clients and stuff, we'll tell them, like if I were to spend $1,800 with your plumbing company, how much time am I buying from you?
Mm-hmm.
And they'll say, well, maybe a day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right? So when you spend $1,800 with an SEO company, they're not working on your account every day of every month.
Mm-hmm.
They're maybe giving you 8 to 12 to maybe 15 hours a month at best, right?
Yeah. And
Um,
by the way, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but also, well, ours is expensive, right? And we have cost of goods as well. Like, I know that was what was going through people's heads. Like, well, you don't have a van and all this stuff. I have cost of goods, like, for instance, link building. Like, you need to
yeah,
get links to your website,
right.
and content needs to be like, sure, content needs to be written. That's going faster with AI, but there's still people to manage it and all that, right? So
Yeah,
there's kind of these harder costs of time and effort and whatnot. And what's scary to me is if somebody's paying $1,000 a month, like, and my hard costs are more than that by a
yeah,
lot. You know what I mean? Like, so
yeah,
it's like always scary to me. Like, what are you really getting
yeah.
in a
Yeah,
thousand
I
dollars a
usually
month?
tell people,
Yeah,
like, don't even do it, like,
yeah,
if you're doing SEO, spend at least $1,500 a month
mm,
or more.
yeah.
Like, anybody that's trying to tell you they can do SEO for under 1,500 a month that's scary cheap,
It's
and
heartache. It's just basically, it's like almost like my thing is don't do it. Just don't do it
yeah,
yet. Like, and I know I'm contradicting you, but I'm saying, like, from my point of view, almost all these dudes that are doing that are not good. That's just
yes,
in my
correct.
experience when I've looked at it. I'm not saying there's not some. You could get a diamond in the rough. Like, you can get like this smaller hometown agency or like a freelancer who's gonna bust ass. Like, that's a thing. But a lot of these like bigger agencies that have that super cheap shit, it's like real. It's cheap for a reason, kind of thing.
Yeah,
There's just
exactly.
like those big agencies with $1,000, $1,500. Like, just watch out for the big agencies with super cheap shit. That's usually the worst agencies.
Yes, exactly, and I always tell people, like, just turn it around on you, like, if somebody offered you $1,000 to do $1,800 in work, are you gonna give them the best product? No.
Yeah.
And so, that's where we say, like, don't even spend money on SEO unless you can spend close to 2 grand a month.
Yeah.
And like I've beta tested it with our company. I've had this conversation with the people that do our SEO, and I've said, like, I understand I'm probably buying like units of your time with this. I'm like, let's double it for 6 months and see what happens. And so I committed to doubling my SEO spend with them for 6 months, and I didn't hold them like they. I told them, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I'm the one choosing to do this, but I just want to see where the diminishing return is with everything. And
Hmm.
we ended up backing it back down to our normal level. We did see an increase, but it wasn't as big of an increase as we would like to have seen.
Hmm.
Um, and maybe that's because we do the YouTube thing too, and that helps a
Yeah.
little bit with the online presence.
And I'll just throw out a little bit about ads because that's like something I feel like we're really good at. Google ads. We don't do Facebook ads or anything. But what I think of ads for myself, for instance, I do Facebook ads. This is something I don't have a vested interest in because I don't sell it.
Yeah.
Facebook ads. I get leads from it, but that's not even necessarily just the only point. I think the best place when you start to get to marketing, it is past a couple million, I think. So it's like, I know it's like disrespectful when you're super early, it hurts. That's why I'm saying sweat equity is the best thing,
Yeah.
because it's really hard to pay for this. But like as time goes on, you get into that spot where you can. I'm just trying to get awareness out there. And I've gotten the best cost per acquisition when I'm going at like 5 things pretty hard all the time. Like I don't scale up and down my budget when it's like, oh, it's so busy, I'm going to stop marketing.
Right.
So that's because then I've always found then the tail off, it gets weird and clunky. Like it gets,
Yeah.
I get too big of, now we're like, it's been like, for whatever reason, it's been like 20 for us. It's like 20 leads a week, and it's been 20 leads a week, and it's 19, and then it's 22, and it's 18, but it's like, it's consistent. And you kind of want to get into that spot where you can find consistency, and where even if you have to do this at a small level, it's like, what can you stick with?
Right.
Even if it's 2 or 3 things, and some of them are your effort, stick with them and be consistent with them, and you'll have a much better result. Don't stop marketing yourself even when it gets busy, and definitely don't stop when it gets slow, but it's a balancing act. And I know it basically, it feels like the worst when people are just telling you to do things yourself when you're early, but it's like so much of this is. And if you're not obsessed, I don't know if you disagree with me with this, but I don't think you should start a business. If you can't be somewhat obsessed, don't do this. Don't
Yeah.
fuck yourself. Like you're not gonna fix all the problems that your previous employer had. It's not gonna make you sit on a beach with a laptop in 2 years. Like, don't get fucking confused.
Yeah.
It's gonna slap you in the face for 5 years, and then you might be rich. But like,
Yeah.
be expected to be slapped in the face for 5 years.
Yeah, and that's that. I ironically, I just posted a video on my social media the other day about how work-life balance is bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
and like a balanced scale reads 0. So if my work-life balance is perfect, I'm not going anywhere in work or in life.
Mm.
And so the how people need to perceive work-life balance is like go hard at work for 5 years, so that then you can enjoy life for 5
Mm.
years. And maybe that number's wrong. Maybe it's go hard at work for 10 so you can enjoy it for 10. But the overriding principle there is work as hard as you can, as fast as you can, so
Mm.
that you can enjoy life as much as you can, as long as you can.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the balance is. Work hard and heavy early so that you can enjoy the fruits of your labor later and longer.
The only
Um,
problem is you might get addicted to it and want to just keep on going forever.
Yeah, but if that's what you get addicted to, then that's your life
Yeah.
too, right? And
Yeah.
so there are those people out there, your Elon Musks and all of those kinds of
Yeah.
guys. I was just listening to an interview with the guy who created Telegram,
Mm-hmm.
and he has no property, no asset. Like he leases his car, rents his house. Like he doesn't own anything because he built Telegram to reinvest everything back in it, and he's like, I'll get a big payday at the end. And
Hmm.
so, like, he's literally living the extreme of work now, life later.
Still a lot of money chasing these transactions. There's still really good outcomes out there for sellers. It's good to have someone like us in your corner because we're not emotional. But guess what? When you're selling your business, it becomes emotional, and so it's really good to have an intermediary, there every step of the way. www.sfpadvisors.com. All the contact information is directly on the website.
Hmm. And what else? What else should we tell them? They're about to start a plumbing company. Maybe they need a few more big tips before we let them go here.
Yeah. So I always like to talk about like red flags in marketing agencies too,
Mm-hmm.
and things to watch out for as you're newer into the industry. You don't really know how to tell a good agency from a bad agency, and so like some green lights for agencies would be where they get admin access to your platforms instead
Mm.
of they take over the admin access and you don't have access to it.
Yeah.
I got
Own
I
your
got
marketing.
burned.
Own your marketing.
Oh yeah, all on your marketing. Yep. Own your website, right?
Yeah.
If you pay somebody to create a website, make sure you own the domain, and make sure that it's set up to where when you want to pay somebody else to maintain or improve the website, you own it. You
Ooh.
can take your ball and go home.
I've got a spicy take there for the
Okay.
for our industry. I believe that it should be on a platform that a lot of people are using. Like I think that it's good to be on the main one that everyone's using. A lot of people are using WordPress,
Right.
and I believe that that's good because you can turn a rock in any city in the United States and find a WordPress developer. I think that that's important so that people are not beholden to the agency
Yes.
ongoing. You don't want to be on a platform that no one knows how to use. And there's also large agencies that have their own proprietary thing, and I think ultimately it's not ideal. And some of those people won't let you own your website or give you your login afterwards. And I hate having to say this all the time, but you really do have to say it because people
Yeah.
don't know. And when you're starting up a company, you don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's a lot of slick talking salesmen out there that can promise the world, and then 6 months in when they've underdelivered and you're starting to recognize, that's where they kind of have you over a barrel. And so, those couple of things of making sure you own your domain, own your website, and all of that stuff. When we started our company, I paid my friend's brother $1,000 to build my first website, and it was pretty much like a 3-page website. You couldn't run SEO on it, nothing. But it was like it at least made me legit, and
Yeah.
I owned the domain and everything else. Well, then whenever we wanted to start running SEO on it, I actually had to turn it over to a different agency, and they had to recreate the website in WordPress. And so I had to pay a little bit for them to rebuild the website. But now we could start running SEO on it. And then now I'm on my third website company. That manages our site, and we've been with them for quite a few years now. And having, we're satisfied with the results there. But ultimately it comes down to owning all of that for sure. So
Yeah, and I think like it's important for me to note there are a lot of good marketing companies out there. I think where I see people that are like they hate marketing companies. I don't want you to hate marketing companies, so we try to give you tips to steer clear of the ones that have red flags, right? Just
yeah,
because I think it's better for me if even like I'll tell you 5 agencies I think are decent, in the
right,
space. Like I'd rather get a better expectation or like a better reputation for the industry. You know what I mean? Just like I
yeah,
mean, people feel about different types of contractors, like probably plumbers. Like some of them are taking advantage or whatever. So it's like I'd rather tell you the 3 that I think are decent. You know,
yeah,
I know Relentless Digital is decent. I mean, Rival Digital. Those are 2 off the top of my head, but a lot of cool companies out there. There's a lot of great marketing agencies. Don't be a dummy and choose one of these people that doesn't give you access to everything, that you don't own your website, that yeah, I don't know, that like it's
and
one of those things. Like I'm getting bigger, so I'm trying not to say don't go with big companies because I kind of hate that because now I'm getting bigger. But I'm like, when the salespeople are so far removed from the actual people that do the service, like ours
right,
are all sitting together right out here, right? The
right,
salespeople have to look the people in the eyes that are having to service these clients and are saying, "Hey, don't say that.
right,
It's not real."
right,
And it's such a big company. Sometimes they get far away from the service and they actually don't know that they're kind of not saying the truth.
right,
That's the
right.
nice way to say it.
Yeah, yeah, and ultimately it comes down to like you get what you pay for, right?
Yeah.
And I always like there's a lot of people that try to use a family friend to run their social media.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And if that friend has a track record of running social media for another company, then great. But if it's just your sister and she has a large following on social media, but she's never done it for a company, that may be a struggle. Excuse me. And so some people are eager to offload some less desirable tasks, and they let their guard down a little bit and they offload it to an unqualified person. And it like I've had the wrong company manage my social media, and then I've had the right company manage my social media, and I've watched our average ticket go up by $500 in the month that we switched to the right company managing our social media ads. And I mean, there's no greater correlation to that than say, okay, cool. Like we didn't adjust our price, we didn't do anything. We literally just changed who manages our social media, and our average ticket went up by $500.
What do you
They
think
were
that
doing a
was? Like, what is the big takeaway there?
they were doing a really good job of getting us in front of the right clients, the busy business professionals that don't have time to try to do this themselves. They don't have an interest in trying to save money. They have a problem. They know time is money, and they want the problem solved quickly and properly.
Hmm.
And and so they do a really good job of getting us in front of those exact consumers. And when you recognize not everybody's your ideal customer, um, like the ultra cheap client is the hardest client to please,
Hmm.
and the wealthier client where time is of the essence. We've all seen the joke. The $500 client acts like
Yeah.
this money is going to change their family's financial trajectory for generations to come,
Hmm.
and the $5,000 clients like money sent. When can you start?
Hmm.
It's literally that. Like, go ahead and put yourself in the $5,000 client category.
Can you give me a couple final tips? We're trying to get people to $1 million. What else would you say if you had 10 more minutes to chat on the phone with somebody? You're like, do these things and you're going to go to 1 million.
Yeah. So, one, and this becomes marketing when it becomes like your brand or your culture in your company. Always give customers three options for every repair because you don't know where their head's at. And so, like, I've gone into a house where they had their kids' toilet and the master bathroom toilet were both broken the same way. They both needed new fill valves and new flappers. And I give them three options for the kids' toilet, and I give them the same three options for the master bathroom toilet. And the dad, this I was dealing with the dad on this one, and he literally said, "Fuck them kids, do the basic repair on them, but I want a new toilet in my bathroom." Right? Well, if I would have gone in there and just said, "Oh, you need two new fill valves and two new flappers and all of that," then I would have shortened myself on the sale on that one. And so the three options is what I was talking about earlier when we create a condition for somebody to buy without us pushing a sale on them. So in that case, I gave them like a minimum repair, a moderate repair, and a replacement. And for the replacement cost, I don't want you to get decision fatigue. I'm not going to give you 17 different prices for a replacement based off brand and shape and height and color and all of that. I'm going to give you one price for a new toilet, and you pick the shape and you pick the height. Because we're talking $10 or $15 difference on my end for whether it's a regular height round front toilet or a tall elongated toilet, and it doesn't take any difference in time to install. And so one price for a new toilet, you pick whatever shape and size you want, and we'll put it in. Um, that works really, really well as your sales process. That also works really, really well for getting good Google reviews because the customer had a good experience. The other thing that I'll suggest to new companies is get tons of Google reviews. We do this two ways. Our CRM will send out an invoice while we're standing in the customer's kitchen. Like our technician completes the invoice, hits send, they send it to them. We have our Google review link hyperlinked right into that invoice. And the invoice says, if you feel you receive 5-star service, please click here and let us know. The words please click here are hyperlinked in blue. That literally takes them to the star rating of our review page. So one-click access to leave a Google review. The very next sentence down says, if you feel you received anything other than 5-star service, please send us an email to, and we got our email, and then it says, we greatly value your feedback. And so now you split your customers into 5-star customers and everybody else. And if they're a 5-star customer, they're going to leave you a 5-star review. If they have reservations or hesitations or concerns about their visit, they're going to send you an email. And it lets you handle those concerns without it becoming a Google review. And then usually, if you handle those concerns properly, usually that person will go back and leave you a 5-star review later because we didn't get it perfect on the first time, but we made up for it and we made it right. So when I started our company, I was the only technician we had for 9 months. And in 9 months, I was able to get 200 5-star Google reviews in 9 months by myself. I was the only employee of the company. And we've continued on with that pace, and that's where we're at about 1,200 Google reviews now. But those Google reviews help a ton. The last thing I would recommend to people is start getting involved in some other areas because chat GPTs and Groks and all of those things, people are starting to ask AI for advice on who to select for a plumber.
Mm-hmm.
And you can rank really well on Google, but not rank really well on chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always tell people, like, go to chat GPT and ask it, who's the best plumber in my city? And then it'll tell you, and you'll be surprised because you're probably not on the list, and it'll probably be companies you haven't heard of.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you just follow up and say, what made you tell me this? What attributes made that? Or you can just go straight to the gut punch and say, how can I become the top of this list with my company? And ChatGPT will literally tell you, like, we pull information from Reddit and we pull information from Forbes, or it'll tell you where they're
Yeah.
getting all their information, and it tells you where you need to go set up some accounts.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, Hook offers AEO as of this podcast going out.
Yeah.
And just want people to know that. Answer engine optimization. And there is some overlap with SEO. I think just so people know, 89% of searches still go through Google. So,
Yeah.
and part of it is backwards engineering, what they're referencing, like you're talking about Reddit and Yelp and stuff like that. And then it's making lists around the web, like figuring out top plumbers in city, like where those lists exist, or making new ones on different
Yep.
websites. And then it's also talking to AI the way it talks to you in a conversational way with things like FAQs. And essentially part of our AEO service is like making large, it's like basically blogging, but it's like making conversational about a topic completely. So pricing, plumbing pricing in city, and then answering the top 20 questions. So you're being referenced more and more and essentially giving it information. And then you can kind of like do 3-4 sentence answers and then try to work your company name into the answer, just because you're trying to feed it, just like you're trying
Yeah.
to feed Google the way it likes to eat. We're
Yeah.
learning more and more, and we're just starting with this, but we've been doing this for ourselves this last few years, just starting with it for clients, trying to feed it the way it likes to eat. And I think
Yeah.
we're all going to learn more and more about that over this next year.
Yep.
And you can do it on your own too. But if you ever want to just have Hook apply effort for you, not to do a heavy-handed pitch on here, but just so you know,
Yeah.
we're on the cutting edge of this stuff as well, and we're happy to help you with it. And if you're doing SEO, there's pricing efficiency, so you can add it on for much less expensive because we're doing some of that work in SEO
Yeah.
as well.
And it is different. SEO is different than AEO
Mhm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And it's a whole different host of platforms that you have to be on.
Mhm.
Um, I believe I believe that we're going to see very soon, probably sooner than we could ever expect, that people are going to be able to go to your AI places, your chats and your Groks and all that, and instead of saying who's the best plumber,
Yeah.
they're going to be able to say, book me a service call next Thursday afternoon with the best plumber in my market,
Yeah.
and let me know when it's confirmed. And
Yeah.
AI is just going to handle everything for you.
Yeah.
And it just seems like we're greatly heading in that direction.
Yeah, and so
So,
like just like you kind of get first movers advantage on a lot of these things, like getting ahead of this with AEO is more likely to be the one booked because it's still gonna, it's like the similar thing. Actually, sorry to go wild futuristic for 1 second here. I
yeah,
was, I go down these YouTube rabbit holes. Really, large language models, it's not real intelligence, right? It's just figuring out ways to blend words together. And yes, agents can do things, they can click things and stuff like that, which is cool. We had got a lead recently that was like from an agent, which was wild. It's like an agent clicked our Google ad, and I was kind of trying to figure out,
right,
like, is there any implications there? There's tons of weird implications right now. But somebody was saying essentially, until we are capturing the visual world, this is going out way crazy limb, but might as well. Until we're capturing the visual world and like essentially synthesizing physics and how like the physical world into AI, and once that happens, that's how you'd get AGI, or like ultimate super intelligence, essentially,
right,
because you have to like catalog the real world and how it works to get actual intelligence, right?
right.
And so there's a chance that not that long, like not that long from now, because I'm already seeing these tools coming out for like cataloging the full physical world. And there is actual people working on this right now. Until that happens, there's potentially like a chance that we're going to actually have to like flip over to a new AI essentially based on that versus based on language. Because right now it's
Right.
like taking what's visible on the internet and in text, and that's not the whole world, obviously.
Right.
So until it can do that, but there might be another lump coming. It's been
Yep.
already hard to swallow this lump of technology for a lot of us. It's kind of unnerving how quickly it's all going, but there might be another lump coming where it's actually cataloging the physical world and then helping us synthesize that into intelligence. Wild stuff. I just like to drop random things. I watch way too much YouTube. I used to watch conspiracies, and now I'm watching odd AI feature predictions, and so fun. I'm going to wrap this up with saying, like, how does somebody get involved with Tradewinds and get a hold of you?
Yeah, so the easiest way to learn about Tradewinds is you just go to our website, winninginthetrades.com. And ultimately, Tradewinds' niche is to take your company that may or may not even be in existence yet and get it to the $1 to $3 million level, and basically get you ready to hand you off to a more formal business coach. And we only work with trades-based businesses. And if you want to follow me, I do most of my stuff on Facebook, just because that's where Facebook groups are and everything else. So you just search up Mitch Smedley on Facebook, and I pay for the blue check, just so that I don't have any of my following get taken advantage of by like a spoof account or something like that. Knock on wood, I haven't had anybody spoof my account yet, so that's pretty good. But those are typically the two best ways to find me. We also do a podcast called The Void, where we talk about entry-level trades-based business things, marketing, how to deliver better service, how to write processes. Like we have our core episodes on our podcast that are all for like how to start a trades-based business. It's 9 hours of content. It's episodes 1 through 9, and it's everything you need to know to get a trades-based business off the ground. And I will give it the caveat that this is for people that are wanting to build more of a legacy business and not necessarily a lifestyle business. Fairly easy to build a lifestyle business to where it can provide your income and yours alone. A little bit more difficult to build a business that's going to grow and produce profit while you're away.
I love that. Mitch, thank you for being on the podcast, man. I appreciate running into you on social media a little bit here and there, and I appreciate you just taking the time to help our audience grow. Thank you.
Yeah, love it. You bet. Anytime.
Podcast is put on by hookagency.com, Hook Agency all over social, and we're grateful to be of service to you guys. Thank you.
They're so thorough with every detail of the website. Working with Hook, the design is probably 50x better than any other design I've ever had. Their team is super communicative, and I mean this genuinely. I'm happy to pay you guys to work with us. It's been a tremendous experience.